It's one of those days when we don't know what we want to eat for lunch. So usually that means we're gonna eat beef.
You're watching the Bare Pantry Show.
So Joe had some thin steaks in the deep freezer and he took them out to thaw out. And it's enough pieces that I can leave a couple pieces for Josh so he can cook it the way he wants to cook it. And then we, meaning me and Joe, can cook the rest for ourselves. So I don't really know how to do steaks really well. That's why you don't see me do that here at the page often. But I've seen what Joe does and what Jada does, and I'm gonna try to do like a cross between. But before we get to the steak, guys, let's go ahead and make some bread because I wanna make a sandwich out of this steak today. I want a steak sandwich, all right? So the easiest bread to do from my bread book is baguettes. Why? Because you don't have to activate the yeast. All you do is throw the flour in the bowl, 5 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast, not the rapid rise one, active dry, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of salt and some warm water. Now, for my recipe, I've been cutting down on the salt, so I just did 1 teaspoon. But usually when I make the bread to give to people, they tend to like it more with the 2 teaspoons of salt. Put the salt though, okay, because it's gonna taste really bland if you don't. I don't get dragged here at the page for my baguette recipe, but I do get a lot of questions. And one of the main questions is, why don't you put any fat in the bread? And the answer is because it doesn't call for it. The recipes that I've watched before I made up this little recipe didn't call for no oil, no butter, nothing to do with fat. So it doesn't even call for milk. People have asked me, can they use coconut milk? And I would say, why don't you try it and come back and tell me? Because your girl don't like to waste dough. I don't think it'll come out bad, but it might not have that texture of baguette, but I think it'll taste good, right? So, little secret, baguettes don't really call for sugar, but when I made it without sugar, I didn't like it. So I put 2 tablespoons of sugar to the 5 cups of flour. So it goes bad pretty quickly. If it's only you and you make this whole big load, put it in the fridge, and it'll go bad in the fridge pretty quickly too, okay? Because it doesn't have a whole lot of sugar to keep it from going bad. So I've cut it into 8 first, and then I went ahead and cut it up into a lot of little pieces. And then I'm baking them at 400 for 30 minutes. And right before I started to record, the oven came up to temp, and I just jammed them in, and they have like 15 more minutes to go. So let's get into what we did for the steak. Washed it first with some distilled white vinegar, and then I used this seasoning here that Jada has. She has salt in it already, so I didn't have to add any extra salt, but I added some Belizean ricotta because I wanted color to the steak. Just kind of rubbed it in there, put some oil in one of my beautiful Red Chef. I have to do a commercial to put at my in it, like a short or something. I have a commercial at Amazon already, but I have to do a commercial for this because I would love for these people to come on as a sponsor to the show. I really love the pots and pans so far, okay? So I got the deep skillet, put some oil, put some butter, and then I browned the steak on both sides really, really well. If it's gonna spatter, put like a spatter guard thing on top, right? So then after that, I put the water, I put quite a bit of water, and I poured some water into the bowl. I had the ricotta, put it in there, and I let that cook down. It took like 20 minutes, and then I added like half that amount of water. And then when that cooked down, I added some sliced up onion and some cilantro, and I just cooked it for the onions to not be too soggy. They're just like tender. And I shut it off. I don't know if them steaks are gonna be tender. I don't like steaks that are just seared and I don't know. They're too much chewing for me, all right? So it's enough that I could do my little sandwich as soon as the breads are done. And I have a garden salad to go with it, so I'm really looking forward to this meal. I have some leftover chicken nuggets that I made yesterday, some sweet and sour chicken nuggets. I might reheat some in the air fryer, dip it into the little sweet and sour sauce, and put half the sandwich with that and half a steak. Hey, I'm having a sandwich buffet, or like Jada's little friends say, a sandwich buffet. Anyways, guys, I'll be back as soon as the bread is done baking. 10 long years ago, I published my first cookbook of recipes from my home country of Belize. My cooking show, The Bare Pantry Show, was created based on that book. 7 years later, I redid the book, removed some of the recipes that I didn't deem to be authentic enough, and added about 30 brand new recipes that are easy to follow, budget-friendly, authentic, and comes out perfect each time. Matter of fact, it comes out perfect the first time. Get your copy today only from www.barepantryshow.com. Shop safely and securely at www.barepantryshow.com. It took half hour to finish the breads, And these are the sizes that I made for this batch right here. There's another tray in the oven, and those have more of the rectangular type breads. So I'm just cutting up the steak into bite-sized pieces, and I'm using this sharp steak knife. Every time this knife falls on the floor, like off the counter, it just sticks right into the ground on the point. Joe is measuring to see if it is truly a foot long, but it's not. It's 10 inches long, and it's still hot. I'm going to go ahead and put some of my spread. This is mayo, mustard, and relish that I always put together as my little own sandwich spread. And I'm going to go ahead and put the beef in one half of it, and then the sweet and sour chicken in the other half. And I will end up putting some of the onion that I used on the beef, okay? But for right now, we're just assembling the sandwich. I didn't take a picture of it yet to go behind me, so I'm going to run outside and take that picture, all right? Come with me.
This is the Bare Pantry Show.
I want to thank everybody who has gone and streamed Jada's new song, Bare, B-A-R-E. I'm so grateful for you guys.